Hello everybody and welcome back to Hobby Time. So I'm in the middle of doing a little bit of tank cleaning. As you can see, this tank is pretty full of mold, pretty filthy. Haven't cleaned it in a couple days, probably about 5 days or so, and it's a pleco tank, so of course you want to clean it as much as you possibly can because plecos are quite filthy creatures, especially baby plecos that eat all the time. So yeah, I'm in the middle of cleaning the tanks, and I thought, you know what better opportunity would I have to do a review on how to remove all of these blasted pest snails. So I get asked all the time, and I know it's all over YouTube as well, on what's the most efficient way to get rid of pest snails, and everyone keeps saying, oh, it's just like duckweed. As soon as it's in your tank, it's going to be in your tank forever. Well, there are a couple things that you can do to get rid of pest snails. Some of it's a temporary fix. Some of it, if you want to spend the time, is a more permanent fix. So obviously the best way to get rid of all this would be to completely gut the entire tank, strip it clean, and just completely basically redo, rescape, redo everything in the tank. So that way you know you're getting rid of all the snails, you're getting rid of all of these, I don't know if you can see them, but all these little tiny egg sacs that are all over the screen. They're just absolutely everywhere. So the entire back wall of my tank is filled with snails and egg sacs, the sides, the ground, all of it. So I found this thing on Amazon, and it's actually a snail catcher. A little device, costs about 10 bucks, and I figured, you know what, why not give it a shot? So this is what it looks like. It's extendable, so you can shrink it down, or you can extend it if your tank is kind of long, which these are 40-gallon breeders, so it is a little bit on the long side, so I am going to use it on the extended mode. And I've played with this a couple times, and you know, it kind of does the job. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on what this little snail catcher can do, and if it maybe is something right for you. So to give an example, this snail catcher, you go right into the tank and you try to go towards the bottom of the glass here, and you just kind of slowly roll it up the side of the glass. And as you can see, it did catch a couple snails. Not bad. However, I have noticed that some of the larger snails are actually kind of a pain in the butt to catch, and I don't know if you can see it too well. Let me actually zoom in and you can get a nice view of it. So if you look, the little plastic piece is rolling, but every once in a while the plastic piece kind of stops rolling and it just drags across the glass like that. And at that point, it's not really catching the snails, it's just moving the snails. So it's rolling really good right there, but as soon as you catch a big snail or something, let's rotate a little bit. As soon as you catch a big snail right there, it started dragging a little bit. Rotating, and then it drags. And it's kind of a pain. Granted, it's only $10, so I mean, you get what you get from it. But overall, it does as exactly what it says it does. It catches snails. So after every couple swipes that you do, once your little contraption, your little cage compartment, whatever you want to call it on this wand, as soon as it gets full, you just tap it off into a trash can, a bucket, however you plan to get rid of the snails. And then you're good to go. So I got this little bucket here. So I'm just gonna take my snail catcher, I'm just gonna pop this little compartment open, tap them in the bucket, close compartment, and then I'm good to go to keep catching more. So it's not a bad little tool. It does exactly what it says it does. However, my cons with the tool is not only does it start sliding like I was showing a little bit earlier, but this is a glass only tool. So yeah, it'll catch all the snails on your glass, and then your glass will be clean until, you know, snails crawl back on it. But it doesn't do very much for the eggs. The eggs are kind of too light, and you know, it might catch the eggs, or it might just make them float in the water and they'll hatch in the water. So it's kind of hit or miss on the eggs, hit or miss on the snails too, if you can even catch them. Like as you can see, some of them are falling right there. So I'd say it catches probably about 90% of the snails. Some of them get away, some of them don't. Catches probably about 40% of the egg sacs. But the biggest problem, as you can see, it is a glass catcher only. It only catches what's on the glass. It does not catch anything that's on your filters, your decorations, your wood, your caves. and most of all, your substrate. So, will this eradicate your snails? No, not even close. But will it create a dent in the population? Yeah, for 10 bucks on Amazon, it'll definitely create a little bit of a dent in your population. As you can see, I've already gotten, this is now my second bucket, and I'm not even really trying too much. Some of my other tanks that are more heavily infested with pest snails, I will typically get 5, 6, 7 of these little compartments full of snails, and my glass will stay really clean for about half an hour before the snails start to climb back up. As you can see, the snails are already starting to climb back up. So you can keep doing this motion for a few hours, and yeah, you'll catch probably more than half of the snails in your tank, but you're never going to catch everything. They're always going to grow back. There's always going to be more. It's not a end-all be-all for your snail. So this is not a permanent riddance solution. It's only a temporary fix to some of your population. So my review of this little contraption, is it worth the $10? Yeah, it's worth the $10. But if you really want to get rid of your snails, and I mean truly get rid of all of your bladder snails and your pest snails in your tank, honestly, the best way is to just completely gut it and start over. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do with a couple of my tanks here, and maybe rescape them, redecorate them, make them look a little bit prettier. I have another tank over here. Some of you might remember, this is my Pandacory tank. Oh, popped off my tripod here, hold on. This is my Pandacory tank over here, and I got a couple of zebra danios in it as little swimmers. So I want to redecorate this tank as well. I used to have plants all in the background here, and they've kind of gotten chewed up a little bit. They kind of died. You can't see it, but I have this giant Chinese algae eater in here. And then somewhere over here, he likes to hang out. Ooh, there he is. Hold on. He's a giant Chinese algae eater right there. And then another one inside the skull. You can't really see, but yeah, unfortunately these two tanks, my Pleco tank and my Pandacory Danio tank, they are extremely filthy, and I am in the process of cleaning them because it's been a hot minute. I know this was a specific review for the snail catcher that I found on Amazon. However, one more way you can get rid of snails, and it is a very slow process, is that guy right there. As well as a couple other ones here in the tank. I got one right in the middle of the screen right there. They're absolutely everywhere. There's another little stripy guy right there. I have probably about 15 assassin snails in this tank, and then probably about another 5 assassin snails in this tank, which explains all of the yellowish looking snail shells, like that one right there, that one right there. All of these yellow looking snail shells are actually empty shells, because the assassin snails will go around and they'll find these little bladder snails and they'll eat the snails and leave the shells behind. So that's another bit of my cleanup crew, and that kind of cleans up the substrate snails. But this little guy right here, not a bad glass catcher, snails on your glass. So again, I would recommend it for the value that it is on Amazon, but it is definitely not a permanent solution. So 4 out of 5 stars, I suppose. But yeah, stay tuned for more videos, more reviews, and overall more tank updates, because we have a whole fish room to go over, and we have had a lot of updates in the last couple months. So stay tuned, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and let me know what you want to see next, if you want to see anything specific, or just stay tuned for the ride. Peace!